So I asked on our Ground Control student Discord server if anyone would like some feedback on any videos that they're making, and I figure I'd have a look. Let's do this. This is a video one of our students made for their wife, Ashley, who is a landscape painter, and I'm really excited to check this out. Let's go.
As a landscape painter who loves fantasy, I've searched long and hard to find artwork that showcases the vast, epic landscapes of the Cosmere from my favorite fantasy books by author Brandon Sanderson. While there is a plethora of amazing character art, I couldn't find many focusing specifically on the landscapes, so I decided to create my own. The city of Ur-Thru is the first of many Cosmere paintings I plan to create. At the end of the video, I'll share some of the other landscapes I have planned. This painting took 8 months for me to plan and create.
Oh my gosh.
Designing my first fantasy painting pushed me to discover how to achieve realism in a fantasy landscape. To help accomplish this, I chose to focus on 2 things: creating a realistic representation of the city and believable, engaging light and shadows throughout the painting.
So I'm just going to kind of skip through this. If you guys want to see the full video, there's a link right up there. But okay, so overall, this presentation is fan-freaking-tastic. So good. If you were going to make a video on how you did your painting, I mean, top marks for this. The things that I think work really well, this beginning works really, really well. You start the video with what people are going to see when they actually watch the rest of the video, and then you go back into your process. A lot of the mistakes that people tend to make when they're showing a process of making something is they just start with nothing at the beginning, and then you kind of go through the entire video. But showing the result at the very beginning is such a good way to do it. So yes, super good idea there. It's also really great that we have this nice kind of big finished product. It's not just the artist sped up even more than usual, because we do see that pretty much through the rest of the video, but it's nice to kind of just take this in. And it's also just a fantastically beautiful painting. After we go into this, then it fades to this art. This is one of the times where it's okay to use a fade, because it's like you're going back in time. Right? It's the passage of time is generally what a fade is about as far as a video, a crossfade. So that's a great way to use that transition. That's one of the very few times I would say, yeah, you should definitely use a fade there. So good work there. And it looks like these are just stills with some motion attached, and the motion works really well. You can see things. It's nice and crisp and clean. And the thing that this video absolutely nails is while the artist is talking about something, we're seeing the visual representation of what they're talking about.
The city is nestled at the top of a vast mountain range, safe above the high storm, yet under a peaceful night sky. Yet a storm rages below, as a reminder that though the city stands above the storm, a very real danger remains within reach. The clouds span out into the distance like an ocean, obstructing any possible view of the world below. This setting suggests the feeling of isolation from the rest of the world and aids in the illusion of the inaccessibility of the city.
So when she's painting the clouds, we're hearing her discuss why she painted the clouds this way and how she's adding the light to the clouds. It'd be really easy to just have the entire process of this painting and have her talk about random stuff throughout. But this was obviously very well thought out, and she actually talked about the specific things that she was doing while we watch her do it. And that works really well. It keeps it interesting and it keeps everything contextualized. When she's painting the lightning, we hear the thoughts on her painting the lightning. When she's painting these stars, we hear the thoughts on why she picked those stars and the story behind them. And so it keeps it interesting this entire time. There are so many artist videos that are just music with somebody painting, which is interesting, but this is so much more interesting that I know that people who enjoy the book and the story, as well as art, and even, I know nothing about these stories or about this art, and I found myself just kind of spacing out watching this video because it's wonderful. Something else that's really effective, that's really easy to miss, is that we're zoomed in on the stuff that she's working on. And this is something I see a lot of people miss, because we could have kept back and on this wide shot while she was painting all of these details, but it's less interesting. And that's mostly just because it's less of a percentage of the screen. And so whatever you're talking about, whatever you're focusing on, you want that to take up a big amount of the screen. That's why we have close-ups, because there's more feeling in a close-up. And so zooming in on this, it almost seems obvious, but I see so many people who don't do that. This right here, adding this slow push while she adds that detail, that just makes it a little bit more interesting. That's great. This is something that you can do in Resolve really easily. It's called dynamic zoom. It's in the inspector. If you just select a clip and go to the inspector, scroll down and just tick on dynamic zoom, it can slowly zoom in throughout the duration of the clip. Very easy. And I'm not sure if you did that or you keyframed it, but either way, it works really well. And then again, at the end, it's a really great idea to actually see the finished product and have these zoomed in parts on the details, because you could have just kept it still this whole time. But anytime that you add motion, like this subtle motion here, this works so well. Maybe just go a little bit slower and just let this hang a little bit. Rather than have this stop right here, I would have this move a lot slower and then just have it never stop, right? Overall, I think the length of the video is great. I think the content is great. It's really interesting. You can see and hear everything, which is fantastic. The lighting is good. The obvious star of the show is the painting, and it looks great. Couple things I would do differently. When you cut to these pictures that aren't horizontal, you might consider zooming in and doing a tilt up on the image. Doing kind of one of these things, because I think that's just as interesting, if not more interesting, and it fills up the frame, just feels a little bit more professional than having the black bars around it. Because in contrast, I mean, this kind of thing, this works really well, right? This zoom out works really well. Obviously, just a still zoomed out works great. And this is actually a video with some parallax. Oh, that's just fantastic, man. That's so fun. And even this, something I've learned about pans and tilts, zooms and dollies is you almost can't go too slow, especially on something like a miniature. You can keep that really, really slow. And so I would at least do a take of it just painfully slow, especially if it's a still life thing like this. You can always speed it up and it won't look too weird, but you can't always slow it down smoothly. And this is especially true for things like drone shots, anything where you have this movement to your camera. At least take one take that's really slow, because I almost always end up using the really, really slow take on these kind of things, especially if it's something that you're going to have voiceover under, music under. That just gives you a lot of ability later in the edit. As far as color and white balance and everything, I think the color works pretty well. I mean, obviously the painting looks good. I'm not sure how it looks in real life, but I mean, it seems like it looks really good on here. The skin tones on her hand look good. There's nothing weird there. It's not obviously green or anything like that. And so the lighting and the color and everything look good. Here, these look natural. I like how there isn't, some weird effect on it or anything. It's just what it is. I think it totally works. The one thing that I would say is this audio with her, because the voiceover is such a big part of this video. Listen to this.
Designing my first fantasy painting pushed me to discover how to achieve realism in a fantasy landscape.
There's a little bit to the mic. There's a little bit of weirdness to the audio there where you're kind of hearing some more of the mouth sounds. And I'm not sure if it's the position of the mic or the kind of mic, but if you're going to be doing future videos like this, I would really recommend getting a mic like a broadcast mic or even a shotgun mic or something that will bring a little bit more low end to her voice and won't be as crispy on those mouth sounds. You could also maybe look at doing some EQ on that. But it sort of sounds like it was recorded with a small mic of some kind, like a headset mic or something like that. It sounds a little too crispy to me.
To help accomplish this, I chose to focus on
There's a lot of the S's, right? That's an area I would work on. That's something that I noticed.
But the application of
I think the music works really well. I think the music is a good level compared to the dialogue. It's not too loud, it's not overwhelming, and it's appropriate for what we're doing. It feels like this fantasy kind of music. So many people will put dubstep to this thing or some kind of weird reggae song or something that doesn't make any sense for the theme of the video. It's really, really important. And so fantastic job on the music. Fantastic job overall. I think probably the weakest part of this whole video is just the quality of the voiceover, just technically how it was recorded. But overall, I think it was really fantastic. What a great presentation and so well done. Hey, if you like videos like this, let me know in the comments. Tell me one thing that you learned watching this. I know it reminded me of some of these really important things that I even need to do better on my videos. Big thanks to Landscapes by Ashley for letting us use your video. Excellent job. If you want to learn to make your own awesome videos in DaVinci Resolve, we have some free training available right here where we made a Star Wars video. That's pretty sweet. You can even download the sample media and follow along right here. All right? This was a little experiment, guys. Let me know if you like something like this, okay? Should we do more of these? What do you think? Okay, bye.